everybody, welcome to Wisdom from North. I'm Jannicke, and today I'm here with the author Nanna Aida Svendsen. Hello Nanna, welcome, how are you doing?
Hello Jannicke, I am thrilled to be in your company on a dark day because it is December in the north. Woo. All the candles are going, the fire, what we need this time of year.
Yeah, so
because cold.
Yeah, we love the north. It's cold, but it's magic, and we're going to talk about that because you have written a beautiful book that's called The Touch of Nordic Light, and it's the journey. Yeah, it's a journey of the heart. And of course, I was drawn to that, the Nordic Light, right? Wisdom from North, and it consists of poems, and I felt like I could just ask a question and just open the book and just find wisdom. And I want to speak to you
One
about
of the
that.
ideas, yes.
Yeah, like how you found this wisdom, like where it comes from in you. And also I know that you are sort of a map maker of the inner realms and an explorer of the inner realms. And this is your 5th book.
That's right.
Yeah. So you're pointing out in the beginning that we are living in hard times and that it's really crucial that we go from the head to the heart, and that the heart and the earth is calling out for our awareness and wisdom and love. And I thought that was interesting. So can you share a little bit about that, what you meant by that?
Well, I think just about everybody would agree. You can see, if you agree with it, these are exciting, challenging times for humanity. And the earth is going through its difficulties environmentally, collectively, consciousness-wise, we're going through difficulties as well. There are many beautiful things happening. I feel that consciousness, just like all life on earth, evolves. We're called to evolve. And as we evolve, that means bring more awareness, we become more aware. We also have to deal with the aspects inside ourselves that are not very aware. It's like the more the light is growing within us and coming up, the more the shadows or the more the areas in us that are blocking that light will also come up to be seen. And I think you could describe some of the difficulty that we're seeing on the planet at the moment as the shadow being right in our face. You can look at something like the Me Too movement, which is, I think, fantastic, but you can also say that is the shadow of patriarchal culture.
Right.
Of the misuse of not just women, but of the feminine, of the receptive, the feeling, the intuitive, the listening, the reflective, the wise part of us. That in men and women is being abused on a daily basis. So I feel Me Too is very literal, the way that men with damaged hearts can hurt women, but actually the way as a culture, we live in a culture that doesn't honor feeling. It doesn't honor that we're cyclical beings, that we, like the moon, we don't want to shine all the time. We need time, we need dark times. We need time to rest. We need time to integrate information. And we live in a culture, in my view, that says we have to be on 24/7. And if you go out any city, all the lights are full blast 24/7. And somewhere in us, that is incredibly stressful because we need the light, we need the consciousness, we need awareness, but we also need time to go within, integrate. You know, seeds and babies grow in the dark. The psyche grows in the dark also. And if we don't have time in the dark, we don't have time to integrate, we don't have time to grow. And so I feel like because of the incessant demands of this world on us, we are wearing ourselves out. We're exhausting ourselves. And we need to get both that feminine back inside us, and we need to be cherishing that, and the masculine. I was watching your interview with Christian Northrup the other day. And,
right,
you know, the masculine, the doer, the one that gives out the sperm that, you know, is busily going for the egg, but the egg, the feminine, receives and nurtures and grows that thing. And we need both of those in us, and we need them in harmony inside us. And we need a healthy inner child inside us. And most of us have been hurt many, many times. And wherever we've been hurt, particularly as kids, that can be a block on our development. That can be a block where the light does not shine. That can be an area where we can't live what we love. And so this pathway, follow your heart, people say, might sound easy. If you've tried it, anyone that's tried it will know it is not easy.
I know you are mentioning that there's so many things, so many interesting things you are mentioning now. But since you're saying it, you're saying that yes, follow your heart, but it's not easy. It's talk a little bit why it isn't easy.
Lots of things. Most of us have grown up in cultures that have conditioned us away from being connected to our feeling system. You kid and you display anger, don't be angry. Behave the way we want you to. Not only that, feel the way we want you to feel. And most of us have not really been listened to or mirrored as well as a human being needs. And so that in some ways has caused us, if we don't feel safe, it's very simple really. Good relationships, sorry I'm spiraling around a little bit, but good relationships need, and I see you've got a beautiful heart on you.
Yeah.
Good relationships needs the heart to be open and heart-to-heart connection. The heart will only open and connect if it feels safe.
Oh.
It won't connect. You can have a sort of, let's see, how can I put this? Personally, you can have a sort of impersonal, spiritual love of everybody, everything connection. But in terms of actually human being to human being together in an intimate relationship with a beloved, with family members, with friends, you can only connect if the heart is open. The heart will only open if it feels safe. And any criticism, judgment, demand, diagnosis will feel like an attack. If the heart feels attacked, it will close. It'll defend itself. Sometimes it will close. Sometimes it will go numb. Sometimes, depending on who you are, it will attack. Any of those means the relationship's gone. And it's not just with somebody else, it's with yourself, you see. If you have this inner critic, demand, judgmental, a recipe of how you think you should be, rather than feeling, how am I actually? And shining love, the tender light of love and awareness on that grief, on that anger, on that pain. If you can't offer that self-acceptance and love, you mentioned it with Christiane Northrup, I noticed, if you can't love yourself in that sense, you can't offer it to somebody else.
It's what's really interesting what you said, if you have a recipe on how you should be like, because that was like, something happened in my heart here. Because I was like, I think I sometimes have a recipe, and I think many do. Like, I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to manage this. I'm supposed to. And that's a demand,
It is. And a demand, the heart shuts down, doesn't like it, doesn't feel honored. And there's something about this journey, if you start to find your own inner light, it's a journey of following where the energy and wisdom wants to take you. It's not a journey of telling yourself where to go. It's a journey of saying, oh, I really feel like when you emailed me, it was like my heart, yes, I really want to talk with you. And I looked at your website and I was like, yay! And then, so the feminine, if you like, the child got excited. Yes, the alive part. The wise feminine said, yes, this feels like a good idea. And then the masculine, the practical, okay, let me make sure I've got the Skype. I didn't have my husband come help, sets it up. So that the masculine, it's the strategic part of us in service of what a deeper part of us wants. And that deeper part of us is following moment to moment where energy wants to go, where wisdom wants to take us.
So what about our own co-creation and what we want to create and manifest? How does that come in to this more like living from moment to moment?
I'm British. I'm sorry. Part of me is that way. I have to sip tea.
Enjoy yourself.
So, co-creation. How does this fit in?
Right.
I think in several ways, and there's several things around co-creation. One thing is the kind of co-creation that's more than one person. Another is the co-creation yourself and life existence, the divine. And that is a kind of guidance too. You know, for example, you could say that writing poetry, this kind of poetry, which is the poetry of the heart, which is bringing awareness to the experience, it's linking consciousness with heart. That is a kind of co-creative process. And sometimes I will get an idea, I'll get the first line for a poem, and it's almost like it's knocking, saying, Nana, can you write this? And I go, oh, okay, I'll write it. So it's about being open to that. I don't ever say, oh, I think it would be a very good idea to have a poem about relationship, and I have to write it, and it has to look like this. It's more like being invited to write a poem about relationships, saying, okay, I'll do that. Does that make sense? So being open to co-creation, my experience of it is it shows up in the present moment. It doesn't show up as tomorrow at 4:00. It shows up as where your energy wants to go now.
Right.
Is one experience. So it requires being present. And then it requires saying, okay, I want to write. I need to take that seriously. I need to organize my life then so that I make sure I give myself the necessary space and time to do that.
Yeah, I just really had the feeling that it
sorry,
comes...
once you get me talking.
Yeah, and there's a Skype delay too. But if you that these things are actually going together.
Yes.
In a way that my brain and my mind cannot understand. But as we're talking now, it's some sort of... I was feeling that I understand that it goes together, because I think the divine will is also my will, in a sense, if I truly listen. Yeah.
Right. They're the same.
Right.
Deep. Not ego will, but the deep soul part.
And I just had that the other day. Like, all of a sudden I was like, I think I want to study to be a coach. And I just started to look online, and I saw a course and I saw a mindfulness instructor, and I was like, I'm going to do that. And I just did it just like that. It was so clear that I was going to do that. And I could do all the days. It was just a perfect schedule for me. And it happened so fast. And I've been thinking so many years what to do, you know, where do I want to go? And all of a sudden it was clear.
Exactly.
That was so strange.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it takes those two things. It's like that clarity comes in the moment, but it is also a result of what you just said, of actually years of work too. Right. Feeling into, I have a poem in here called Via Positiva, Via Negativa, and that's the idea. You keep following, yes, this, I think this, yes, you follow the yes, and you follow, no, that doesn't quite feel right, no, I won't do that. And, you know, by following those yes and no's, you come to, yes, this. Right. So it's both. It's both a sudden revelation. Oh, yeah, I realize, yes, I want to be a coach. And yes, it's falling into place. But it's coming on top of years, I imagine it's coming on top of years of experience and thinking and trying out and waiting. And waiting is a big part of feminine, you know.
Yeah, and also the matureness that sometimes the time is not right.
Timing.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
So you talked a little bit about that the inner child needs to be healthy. What did you mean by that?
Well, I think of the inner child as, in a certain sense, a metaphor for our soul self. It's unique, it's alive, it's responsive, if it's healthy, it's in the present. And it's in a certain sense the essence of our uniqueness. We have, and it is connected to all that there is. The soul is connected to all that there is. So that's the child part. We have another wise part of us. My hand's gone up here because it's almost an impersonal part that can get certain kinds of intuition. It can say, silly thing, but I've been waiting for some money to arrive in my bank account, and it was just like, no, the money isn't there yet. No, it's not there yet. That wasn't so much, it could be part of the child, but it's a sort of impersonal knowing. But the child is personal. The child sees your beloved walk into the room and smiles. It's like, yes, this is the person I love. And the healthy child has not been wounded. The healthy child's responses are very immediate in the moment. Oh no, I don't like that. Oh yeah, I like that. Oh no, I feel sad, grief. See, the child is connected to feelings. It's almost like the heart in a way. Very immediate feelings. We could run the same story around the heart. You could say the wounded heart is responding to situations now from a wounded place, if that communicates. And the wounded child is the one that, for example, at 6 years old, was shamed in some ways or was scared of expressing herself in case daddy wouldn't love her being like that. And she can show up. I still have her. You know, will I be loved? Will I be enough? Am I good enough? Those are a lot of the parts of the wounded child that has learned to distrust herself. The healthy child is just very, very immediate. And then she needs the masculine in me, the part that can do things, to be a good father to her. And she needs the feminine in me, the part that feels, reflects, has deep wisdom, to be a good mother to her, cherish her. Yeah. So it's like you have an inner family with male, female.
That's sweet. You have an inner family. I like that. So I guess there are many people out there now wondering, you know, do I have a healthy child inside, and what can I do if I don't?
I would venture to say, unless, and I'm not talking here about somebody having severe psychosis or you know, real mental disorder. I'm not talking about that, but most of us have both, yeah? I don't know anybody that does not carry wounds to the heart or wounds to that child in them. But underneath that, my experience is that there is a core self that's intact. And so the work of good therapy, the work of coaching to some degree, can be to help find and connect with that part so that it's given a voice. The work in this in some senses is through the writing to create a safe environment that will say, yeah, your child is welcome here. She's welcome. And yet to say, you know, there's a poem in here about not being enough. You know, you're never feeling good enough. To recognize that those feelings are normal, they're natural. Most of us carry them. And the work is either with a therapist or with yourself to talk to that part. Oh God, you know, I don't think I can do this. I'm not enough. I don't know how to handle this world. I'm scared. And then usually that fear that is linked to some childhood experience where you were asked to do more than you actually could. And so then it's like embracing that part. I understand. I'm so sorry that happened, that you were asked to do more. And I'm here now. I will protect you. I'll do my best not to ask more of you. I will do my best to listen and see what you like. So, if I go shopping, I might, for example, for this, I'll say to my little girl, so do you like that? Do you want that? And if she smiles, I'm like, yeah. And if she's kind of, in fact, smiles are I find a very good test. I often will ask myself, do I want, I'm just bringing this out, do I want to bake potato for dinner? No, clearly. No.
I like that. I like that you are really in connection with your inner child, like often, because there are people who haven't even heard about what's an inner child, and then it's about being aware of it and connecting with it often. And I actually, a few days ago, I don't remember when, but I felt a little sad, and I noticed that I was criticizing myself, and then I thought about the inner child, I was like, hey, what does she think now that I'm, saying all these things to myself? That's not nice. And immediately it was very easy to be like, oh, I need to embrace. And that switched actually my mood. Because I felt that compassion, and I really didn't want to hurt her.
Exactly.
Yes. And that was magical, how that just change of thought in a way, or awareness changed my mood. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that implies in your relationship to your inner child, but also your relationship with other people. If your inner critic makes your child feel like that, you can pretty well know that if you start criticizing somebody else, they will feel like that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we kind of mirror, like life is a mirror in a way, and that we need to be aware of if we judge others, then we are very critical of ourselves, most probably.
Yeah.
So the touch of Nordic light, what is it about the Nordic light?
Well, I think there are many things about the Nordic light. I mean, my parents were originally from Denmark, though I was born in England. And I do feel, for me personally, as one would say in Danish, and then I'll say it in English, but I'll say it in Danish, jeg gammel Skandinav. I'm an old Scandinavian soul. So for me, this wouldn't be true for everybody, but for me, there is a resonance with the land, with the light. I feel a kind of belonging. I spend time in Spain. I love Spain, but that land, that light will never invite my heart the way this place does, even though it's beautiful. The South is beautiful, has many gifts. But I also feel that there are a few other qualities around it. Scandinavia is not perfect. Nowhere is. We're still, as a humanity, really just at the beginning of learning what does it mean to have empathy, what does it mean to actually live and realize that we are all connected. What we do with ourselves impacts everything and everyone. You know, it's a different kind of consciousness, again, than the patriarchal, which is me first, and enforcing ideas of how you should be on yourself, on others, on the planet. And I do feel that Scandinavia, in many ways, is one of the better places to be in the world at the moment. It's not perfect. There are problems, but it feels like there is a wisdom here. And I think of it a little bit like the North Star. The North Star, which is constant in the sky. You can always use it to navigate by. It's not the brightest star. It's not going, look at me, I'm a wonderful star. It's as far as I can tell. But it's constant and it's trustworthy and it can be a guide. My vision and dream is that Scandinavia could contribute some of that kind of energy to the world. But whether or not Scandinavia does, I feel as though that is the light, the quality that we need to find inside ourselves. Yeah. Where is the inner light that we can trust, that will always guide us? And sometimes we might take the wrong step, but if you're connected to the inner light, you know immediately, oh, that didn't feel right, and you can self-correct. And it's like that soft, some people call it the soft voice of the soul. It's a tender light. Sometimes it will really blare at you if it really, really wants your attention and thinks you're not following it. And it might blare at you in ways of making you ill, having accidents. You know, it will, if you don't listen, I believe it will take us to certain extremes. But otherwise, it's a tender light. It's like that northern star.
Do you think it's connected? Do you think it is connected to the northern lights?
Probably also. God, they're so magical.
Yeah.
There's a magic up here in the north. I look at at the beginning of your video somewhere with those ice flows and that pink and sunset. Oh, God, it's like, oh, I love that. I love it.
Yeah, I kind of feel this feeling of clarity in a way.
I agree.
Yeah. Clear wisdom. It's powerful, it's direct, and it's magical at the same time.
Yes.
So it's something that's difficult to explain, but I have a sense of it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also that there's a lot of space here. And I'm going to read you just something from the prologue, from the very beginning of the book.
Would love to.
Just because it says a little bit like about this. Now, is this all right if I'm looking a bit to the side whilst I read this?
Sure.
It's from the prologue of the book, yeah. I could not find the voice that is my own amidst the cacophony of sound that is England and America to me. It took the silence of Sweden and the touch of Nordic light for that. And there was something about that, the resonance with the land, but also the silence. And I have another poem that says something about that. It's in the book, and I'll just read it here. I have it on a piece of paper printed out because it's easier to read because the print's bigger. And it's called The Silent Pulse. And the idea here is, well, I'll read it and we can then say something about it. Take yourself to the place where you can hear the silent pulse of your soul, the silent pulse of your soul echo through the stillness and pound the hidden drum of your heart. And then move on with your life, knowing you can never live it. You can never live it the way you did before. Move on to the rhythm of that pulsating drum as it reverberates inside you. And there are a couple of things to say about that. Once you've had an experience, and you probably know this in meditation or in some kind of circumstance where you feel that you have connected with a deeper, truer place inside yourself, that, in my experience, changes us. You might not be able to keep the experience. In fact, it's almost 100% sure it will go.
I know. You want to get it back, but yeah.
And you want to get it back, and you meditate. And
yes.
You're in a work, and you have 10 days of the wounded child, and you can't get away from the wound, and it's a piece of work. But the quest has begun. And then if you will always see, okay, because you somehow will know, you'll be able to sense, I'm not in the presence of that sacred place inside. I don't feel the aliveness that I would feel if I was in the presence of that place inside. Okay. And then the journey then is, okay, so all the things that one does to try and reconnect with it. So my sense is it changes your life to connect with that pulse of your soul and have it reverberate. And it also is very, very quick in saying, oh, no, that doesn't feel right. Oh, yes, this does feel right. Like to me, and hopefully for you, this call feels very right. I feel like, yes.
You bring out my inner child. You do.
You see?
Yeah, I love it. So do you encourage people to go to places they feel attracted to perhaps, experience what you experienced in the northern countries? Yeah.
Yes. And it can be anything, because the other thing here, another thing that's important, take yourself to the place where you can hear the silent pulse of your soul echo through the stillness. Right. And, for some people, they go to India, and for some people, they go to somewhere, or they go for a walk in the forest. But it may be as simple as your own room,
Well, I was just thinking about it,
Apartment.
Yeah.
The thing that's important is that you create somewhere a space where you feel invited to be, even if it's small, even if it's really tiny, even if it's just where your desk is. But when you get there, something in you goes, oh, I'm pleased to be here.
Okay.
It's mirroring back to you things that you like, or your child has put, no, you can't see it, but I have a bunny and a teddy bear behind me, because my child likes to have them there. And so that you feel that something essential to you is being reflected when you get there. And where you then give yourself the time to be still. Back to what we were saying earlier, it's not a still culture. Out in the countryside it can be, but in the cities these days it sure isn't.
Yeah, and I think we also take in other people's thoughts. I'm just living in a building now, with a lot of different people, and I think that we take in much more than we think. So it's a lot of things going on here.
That's right, absolutely. Because empathetic, open-hearted, the more open you are, the more vulnerable you are, in one way, to what's going on around you, and we feel that. And so I do believe that time in stillness is necessary somewhere, even if it is your room in that apartment.
Right,
actually.
because I was thinking not necessarily everybody feel like they have to go somewhere,
No,
but
in
for
fact,
some, they need to take their journey, you know, that's part of their journey to actually, you know, travel
yeah.
around, while others feel like they are living in the right place for them, in a sense.
Yeah, and I like to be home. I mean, home is the best sanctuary for me, actually. And I like that sanctuary. But the thing also about being still, you know, it's also being home, being in that space that you like, taking time not on a device, not keeping yourself stimulated all the time. And we fear the stillness because in the stillness is where often the wound will come up.
Right.
And if you don't go through the wound, you can't get to the deeper place of wisdom that's underneath the wound. I do have a poem about that. Could you handle one more poem?
Sure, I'd love one more. Yes.
I was I was running a group, and somebody in the group asked me, "Oh, Nana, can you tell me how to be gentle with myself?" And so I answered her, but as soon as she answered that question, I thought, oh, there's a poem there. There is a poem. So I'll have to have a sip of tea, and then I'll read you this poem. Thank you. So it's called How to Be Gentle. It's in the book. Everything that I read is in the book. And it has a subtitle, The Soft Voice of the Soul. She asked me how to be gentle with herself, how to listen for the soft voice of the soul. This was my reply. Stay with your energy and your flow, and let yourself go slow. Stay with your energy and your flow, and let yourself go slow. Promise you will cherish your wise and tender heart and affirm what it feels. Say something soothing to yourself. Say, I understand. Say, you have been forgiven. Say, I love you. Say, I understand. Say, you have been forgiven. Say, I love you. Do not be afraid of entering the silence, though sometimes this is where your pain will be revealed. It is also where your wisdom often resides. This is where the soft voice of your soul may be heard. So stay with your energy and your flow and let yourself go slow.
Beautiful. I actually noticed that poem, especially.
Did you?
Yeah, so I was remembering it.
So that was for you.
Yeah. I was thinking about the pain, that there's so much to learn in pain and, like you said, wisdom. And I was just thinking that when I feel the pain, you know, I also get to know myself better, because I feel, okay, I have pain because I want something else, or I wish for this and I don't have it, or I'm hurt because it gives you information about what didn't happen, or what happened, or what is important for you.
Exactly.
And perhaps what your mission is, or what you really want to manifest, or just create in the world that you haven't created. And
exactly. In fact, you could say all feelings are messengers. They all carry information. And pain is often, where am I blocked, or guidance, that doesn't feel right. Love can be described as a feeling response to feeling safe and attracted. If you don't feel safe and you don't feel the aliveness of attraction, you won't feel love. If you feel attracted and you don't feel safe, you probably will feel hate. And what's important about the feelings is it's not wrong to feel hate if it's an unsafe situation that you're attracted to. It's not even wrong at certain moments to say, I hate my father. You know, given certain ways that he may have been with you, or even your mother, why wouldn't you at that moment feel that?
Yeah.
The thing is to understand that and to also know that feelings do move. It might not be the only feeling.
And there's probably something in underneath that again. Yeah.
But if you don't get the messenger, if you don't receive the feeling, you won't get the message. And then you can't move beyond it. You know, there's something very simple and very profound. And I have a poem on my website. I haven't got it in the book yet, I don't think. No, I don't have it in the book. About one of the ways that you heal is you have to describe accurately what the feeling is.
Huh.
Yeah? So if I'm kind of saying, I'm really annoyed with so and so, and I really wish they hadn't done that, and I really should have done that, won't heal you. But if the feeling under that is I'm scared, I'm really feeling scared. I'm scared that I'm going to lose somebody, or I'm scared they won't like me. I mean, you need to accurately describe what is. And the magic is if you describe it precisely, the healing begins. It starts to loosen its hold.
Right. Yeah, because I think there's information all the time to us if we just listen. Yeah, but it's just so subtle, and we just perhaps need to think a bit different and see things from a deeper perspective, because in the moment there's like information all the time.
All the time.
And
absolutely.
we're like, you know, there's nothing here, you know, where is the answers? But it's still here, like
it is
right here.
It's right here.
So, talk a little bit about why you chose to use 4 seasons in the book, because it's divided into 4 seasons and each season has some sort of a theme. Like, I think autumn was like letting go, and I don't remember specifically, but talk a little bit about how that came to you.
Well, I'm blessed to live, I live just outside Stockholm, but on the other hand, I live in the Stockholm archipelago, so I live right on the water. And that gives me an amazing communion with nature every day. And I feel very bonded with it. And I notice there's an apple tree in the garden, and I notice how its seasons, and actually how the seasons mirror my own experiences. You know, this is winter, you're in the north, you know the days are really short. And I love this dark too, because it pushes me in, pushes me to retreat, pushes me into finding a tender candlelight. Let's see if that shows up as a and you know, sometimes the soul won't come forward if it feels that there's too intense a bright light shining right on it. It needs often, you may have noticed this, that often, you know, a dinner party, if it's not too light, people will talk better. If it's very illuminated, they won't. So there's something in us that actually can require that darkness to come forward. And so there are gifts to be had in winter, and you can't go out and about so much. And so that can push you in, and that can be very good for creativity and healing. The summer has this tendency to call you out. You want to be out and about. And so it's as though it's in the seasons, because I feel that communion with nature. I feel in the autumn that sense of it's time to let go, and having a look at where am I not willing to what do I need to let go of? What am I not willing to let go of? I saw that mirroring. It's a death time too, typically. And so there are poems to do with that process there, spring kind of rebirth time. So I feel if you're connected to the heart, and even if you're not, as human beings, we live on this planet, and we are connected to the rhythms of the moon, to the rhythms of the season, to nature's rhythms, even if we try to override that and deny it. Somewhere in us, we're all part of that. And that's why I wanted to have both nature and that sense of it's an unfolding process throughout the year, you know.
And I noticed also that you're saying about the autumn, and you spoke about the letting go, that letting go is a process, and forgiveness is a process. It's not something you just decide to do. And that resonated with me, because there's things that I have had so much difficulties letting go of. And I was thinking, I can't let go right now. It just needs to happen when it happens. Like it was clear to me. And all of a sudden, one day, I had let it go. Yeah. And it just happened.
That's wisdom. That's wisdom to allow the natural timings of things. No, this isn't ripe. You see, if you look at anything in nature, it has seasons, and fruit ripen. And they don't fall off the tree usually unless there's a storm something until they're ripe. Yeah? And the same with us. There are processes that we need to go through. We need to have, when we let go of something, it changes us. Part of the structure of who we were has shifted in some ways. And we need to be ready for that.
Yeah.
We need to have a structure that we feel can hold this new form.
And that's why I think sometimes we need to be careful with saying to other people to give advice like, well, you have to let it go, you know, because then you feel like I have to let it go. Why am I not letting it go? And then the self-criticism comes again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rather than, you know, the desire to let go is often saying, well, there's some pain here. I'd like to remove it. But it's also part of a natural growth cycle. I have a poem in here, it's in the summertime, about the lobster shedding its shell. Because, you know, shellfish outgrow their shells.
Right, yeah.
And so they have to shed them from time to time. And when they do, they are extremely vulnerable.
Oh,
they're not
how
offended
beautiful.
yet. They're so vulnerable. They feel everything until there's a new shell that's in place. And that new shell is typically a bit too big. Because be able to grow into it. So they're moving around kind of clumsily, and it's like that for us. So we've shed the old form, and that's very vulnerable.
Right.
Very vulnerable, and the new form,
is bigger.
It's bigger and harder.
Yeah, and we grow into it. That's so beautiful. I'm just so amazed by nature and what we can learn when we observe, like you have been doing, really observing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well,
and if I could just say that humanity, in some ways, we're like that. Some ways we have outgrown the shell that we've been inhabiting. The cultural, patriarchal shell that has been defining who we are has brought us to here, and it's had many gifts. But something in us is growing beyond it. And it's an uncomfortable experience. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen any of the films where you watch lobsters shed their shell. It does not look pleasant.
I haven't. I want to look on YouTube right now. I get curious.
A lobster doing that, it doesn't look particularly pleasant. And you know, it isn't really a pleasant time for humanity at the moment. But I do feel that we have outgrown the old forms, and part of finding your own inner light and living according with that has to do with finding, so what forms support me now? What forms support humanity now? The old one is too small for who we are. And it's killing us, and it's killing the planet, actually. So we'll have to be willing to shed that old, instead of constantly trying to fit that old lobster shell, you know. And you can see on people's faces in the street, you can see how many people are in a lobster shell or in a shell that doesn't fit them. You can see the pain, you can see the deadness.
Yeah, I so agree that it's time to grow into a larger shell, much larger, that we don't think, it's too big for me. But yeah, no, that's a grander version of ourselves.
Absolutely. A truer, more authentic. And, you know, for me, freedom and love go together. You can't have love if you don't feel free to be who you are. And if you only have freedom without the love piece, then you don't have enough connectedness to your impact on everything and everything's impact on you. So freedom and love, that's another marriage that's important to honor.
And in a way, yes, these are troubled times, but since this is coming up, it's good because we're moving towards, you know, that greater version, that more pure, true version.
And that, should I read you the final poem?
Yes, let's end with that.
It's called Troubled Times. Just bear with me for a second here. I'll start finding it. think it's the second poem in the book, actually. It's called Troubled Times. These are troubled, shocking times. Much of the natural world is under threat. Much of humanity is suffering. Empathetic beings that we are, we know for all the beauty to be found here, all is not well. We know in our hearts an endangered world, struggling families, and acts of violence are not what we long for, not what we want to create. It can be easy for fear, fury, denial, or old wounds to come and stalk us. And yet, there are gifts to be found underneath the grief. Caring for the treasures we still have. Caring for humanity. And so I say to you, do not turn away from the anguish when it comes knocking on your door. Rather, let the heart ignite in recognition of the wisdom and the natural generosity that underlies all that pain, and become a light in dark times.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for watching, and I can truly recommend Nanna's book, The Touch of Nordic Light. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't before. Much light from Norway and Sweden. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye.